Did the burger last week. Today we're doing something different, doing something more chefy today. I'm thinking of doing a YouTube channel. I don't know if I should or not. I don't know what to call it. I was thinking Connor's Corona cooking, or I don't know if that's a bit too much for Corona. Anyway, so today we are doing monkfish. Lovely bit of monkfish here. We're going to cook it in lardo. The lardo I've got from Tempus Foods. My friend runs the company, and so we're going to cook it in that. So it's a nice bit of fat to coat the fish, and we're just going to do it with a mixed heirloom tomato, watercress, and a yuzu dressing, like salad. So it's quite a light dish, and it shouldn't take too long to do. So first things first, the fish. So I've bought it with the skin on. So you can ask the fishmonger to take the skin off. As you can see, it's got the bone down the middle. I like it with the bone. When you cook it, you get more flavour and it holds the fish together. But you're going to start off by just taking the black skin off, like this, and just clean the fish up. Take these flappy bits off, so you're just left with a nice saddle of monkfish. If you're not being too chefy, you can leave those bits on, you can eat them, but it's nicer if you clean it up, so when you cook it and present it, it looks nicer. So monkfish is notoriously one of the ugliest fish in the world, but it doesn't half taste good, so who cares what it looks like, eh? So we won't go too mad. If, say I was at work, we'd even trim that up even more so you've got a really nice shape to the fish, but we're gonna leave it like that. So the fish is ready to cook like that. And so I'm gonna put that fish to one side before we cook it. And now we're gonna prep the tomatoes to go with it. So, as you can see, lots of different coloured tomatoes, all taste individually different. These are actually from Italy. It's hard to find nice tomatoes in England, to be honest. As we know, our weather isn't the sunniest, albeit last week was good. It's not enough for the tomatoes like you get in Italy, for example, where these ones come from. So if you taste them, they all taste different. They're quite sweet at this time of the year. Some are more acidic than others, but we're matching it with yuzu, which is quite acidic, so it should cut through the sweetness of these tomatoes. We're just going to chop them up. You can do some in half, some in quarters, whatever your heart desires. If you can see them. You can do this all beforehand, and depending on how many you're doing it for, the more you do, obviously. We're not really going crazy, just a few to go on the bottom. Helps if you have a sharp knife. Believe it or not, yes, I am a chef, but my knives are very blunt in this house, mainly because my sharp ones are at work and they're locked in there, so I'm stuck with my blunt ones, but hey ho. So, tomatoes cut like that. We're going to put some fennel with it. I'm going to save these little fennelly bits, as you can see there. Don't throw them away. It's these little things like this you can add on the dish, and that's the chefy bit. That's the bit which makes it look good. We save all of this in the kitchen, so the little garnishes, just put them off like so. So that's probably enough for on top of it. And then we are going to thinly slice this, so take the tops off. You can save them, so we'd use that in a fish stock or a vegetable stock, or even just chop them up and use them in a salad. Don't waste them. I say that, and the thing is, when you're at home, you put it in your fridge, and they stay in your fridge for a month. They go all soggy, and then you throw them away. But the thought's there, eh? So, as you can see, we just cut in the fennel nice and thin. If you've got a mandolin, you can use one of them. It's like the Japanese mandolin ones are the best, but watch your fingers. So, there we go. So we got the fennel like that. put that to one side as well. So we've got tomatoes, the fennel, a little bit of garnish here. We're going to use a little bit of watercress with this salad. Again, we'll just pick it off. Again, save these bottom bits. You can use them in soups. That's what we do in the kitchen. So we should get a nice pepperiness from the watercress in the salad, sweetness from the tomatoes, and the acidity cutting through from the yuzu dressing. So we've got that. So now we're going to cook the fish. So come over here. As I said in my other video, this oven isn't the best. So get your pan nice and hot for monkfish, and I'm going to cut some of this lardo off. So lardo, it's the fatty, it's the really fatty bit from the pork. And Tempus use their secret spice mix and cure it with salt so that it sucks out all the moisture, so you're left with a lovely bit of fat, and fat means flavour. See, you can see it's so creamy and soft. Look, it's like butter, you can spread it. So we're going to cut it nice and thinly so that it melts on the fish. Because you can see the bit of meat where it's from the pig. Tempus actually only use female pigs, which is quite abnormal. Normally they use young pigs which go to slaughter very early on in their life, whereas these are working pigs. They've had a whole life ahead of them, and then they get slaughtered to make lovely charcutrie. Right, so we've got the lardo there, pan's getting hot, the fish. Take the fish over here. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in the pan, not just fully the lardo, just so it helps the lardo to get going and melt. And then I'm going to melt one bit in there. The fish we're going to season. So, Maldon salt I like to use from Essex. So it's actually white, it hasn't got a fake tan, which is odd. Most things are orange out of Essex. So a nice bit of seasoning on that. You can hear the fat starting to sizzle, and as you can see it's melting there. And then we're going to go in with this fish right in the centre. And then I'm going to put in a little bit more lardo. So you don't necessarily have to do this in lardo, it's just a nice little touch, and I had some in the fridge, so it's a nice way to use it up. But you can fry this fish in oil, butter. But if you were to do it in butter, I would say though, don't add your butter straight away. Start your fish off with oil, and then when you come towards the end of the cooking, use the butter for the flavour. You don't really necessarily want to use the butter for all of the cooking. If you've got a nice hot pan and you put the butter, the milk solids in the butter, they will just burn, and you'll have little black bits all over your fish. And the key to having a nice presentable dish is to have a nice bit of white succulent fish. You don't want these little bits of black burnt butter over the top. So always add the butter at the end for the flavour and the cooking. So we're going to give that, I don't know, like 5 minutes on this side. All fish are cooked 3/4 of the way up. Once it's 3/4 of the way up, then we'll turn it over, give it a couple more minutes on that side, and then we'll take the pan off the heat and let the residual heat of the pan cook the fish. This way you get a nice crisp on one side, especially if you've got skin. So this fish hasn't actually got skin on it, but say you had sea bream or a bit of cod with a nice bit of skin. If you keep it on the skin for the majority of the cooking, you'll get a nice crispy skin. So this smells really good now with the pork. You can smell the spices which the lardo was packed in. a little chef tip, shake the pan, makes it look like you're doing something. So while the fish is cooking, we're going to make the dressing which we're going to incorporate the tomatoes with. So any dressing, you need something which will emulsify the dressing. When I say emulsify, I mean combine the ingredients together. Say you've got a mayonnaise, it's the difference between having your fat and a liquid separate compared to it being together. So we're going to start off with a little bit of yuzu. So yuzu is like, it's in between an orange and a lemon. So imagine an orange and then it's got the acidity which makes you go like that, like a lemon does. So only a little bit in there. And then this is a good quality olive oil. So for dressings, I buy a good quality oil, and then if I'm cooking, I buy a cheaper oil. So I'll buy a pomace oil from Sainsbury's to cook with, and then the dressing, this is organic, cold press, and it's just got a much different flavour. If you cook it, you lose the flavour. So, and then just slowly add the oil in. And then in that, I'm going to put the fennel tops, and I just found a little bit of mint from the garden which we're going to put in it. And so if you're chopping herbs nice and finely, the trick is to roll it up with your fingers into like a ball, or imagine you're rolling a cigarette. So it's like that, and then you're just going to rock your knife through it so you get it nice and fine. Like so. And then we'll put that in there. Give that a little mix up. And then I'm going to put a little bit of salt in that. Again, rock salt tends to be all I really use. You want something which hasn't got the harshness like table salt, so don't use this Himalayan salt. It's so expensive and I can't even tell the difference. Just good quality salt, but not something which is just trendy. That's nice. You can really taste the oil. Right, back over to the fish. So the fish has been cooking away now for probably 4 minutes, and now we're just going to turn it over. So you can see it's got a nice crust on it here. And then what we're going to do is, you're just going to tilt the pan down. So all that fat has come out of this lardo, so it's almost shrunk in half the size, isn't it? So now we're just going to nappe the lovely fat over the fish. Like so. Smells really, really good right now. You can taste what it's going to be like. So the process of just keep nappeing the hot fat over it will encourage a nice crispy skin again on top of the fish if it has a skin. So as you can see, you're still creating a nice crust on top of this fish. And what you're doing with the hot fat is you're locking in all of the moisture into the fish this way. So we're going to leave that for another couple of minutes just to cook up the fish the other way, yeah? So while your fish is on the last 3 minutes of cooking, so we've got the shaved fennel. We're not going to use all of it, so I'm going to take some of it and put it with my tomatoes. The rest of it I'm going to put in the pan, in that lovely fat, and just leave it there to wilt down. Meanwhile, grab your plate or whatever you're going to present it on. So if you're doing lots of it, say you could do it in a big platter. Today it's just one. I can only afford one bit of monkfish per load, you know. So we've got the dressing. I'm going to put that in with the tomatoes. Could have done with a bigger bowl here, so this is going to be messy. But hey ho. And then you're just going to fold that dressing through and coat those lovely tomatoes. So you can always do a bigger batch if you want to have this throughout the week, or if you want to just do a larger salad. You don't have to even do this with fish. And so once you've got it all dressed, you can neatly place them on your plate where you want. So I'm envisioning it kind of hickledy-pickledy in the middle. It's a good word, hickledy-pickledy. Just let them fall off your spoons where they want to go. We're past the days of everything has to have a place. Food's supposed to sometimes look a little bit messy. They're good. Oh, good tomato. I'll save them two for the cameraman. Right, drizzle a little bit of that around there. And then, so we've got the lovely watercress. So I like to take the top bits, the pretty bits, as I say. And again, you can just place them around. A little chefy trick to make things look nicer. So if you're putting these leaves on the plate, you can always just put a little bit of oil on the top of them, or even cold water under it. And then when you put it on the plate, it glistens, it just makes it look fresher. Yeah, so you can see there the light catches it. Makes everything look more vibrant. So like that. So now, the fish has been cooking for probably, I don't know, 7 minutes. The way to tell with the monkfish if it's done is you can pull it away from the bone. See, I was probably a little bit too eager there, I've actually broken it. But it should come away from the middle bit here. That is done. And we've got the fennel, which took seconds. Look at that, lovely. We're gonna put that on top of there as well. It's looking good. And then the fish, it's like almost like meat. So if you're doing it, rest it. I'm not gonna rest it now for this because you don't need to watch a piece of fish sitting on the side, but rest it, let it relax in the pan with the juices. What it will do, when you cook it, it tenses up. So it's really, 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 really tense. And all the juices come out of it while it's tense. Imagine you're sweating while you're all tensed up. And then once it's cooked and it starts to loosen down, or say after a workout, you start to relax, it starts to soak that juice back up. So leave it in the pan and it will soak up that lovely fat and all that flavour. But we're not going to do that. We're going to put it straight on. So that is a lovely bit of monkfish there. Save the fat in this pan. This has got the flavour, and I've got a little bit of dressing left in here. We're going to put that in there. Cameraman's bit. And then just put that over the top when you're about to serve it. And then don't forget the most important part, the tops of the fennel, which you saved. So there you have it, a monkfish with yuzu and a tomato salad. Hopefully you give it a go and enjoy.